The View is live.
What do you see a timing for actually sending humans to Mars?
Well, I think it'll be approximately in the 2030s.
We'll have to speed that up a little bit, okay?
Say what? The most shocking moments of Trump's latest interview and what Ivanka said that drew hisses at an international women's conference. Plus, Ohio Governor John Kasich takes you behind closed doors of his face-to-face in the Oval Office with former rival President Trump. And Kelly Osbourne opens up her struggles with drugs, body image issues, and her moment on The View that changed her life. Let's go! Let's fire up Hot Topics with Whoopi, Sunny Hostin, Joy Behar, Sarah Haynes, and Jedediah Vila. Now, let's get things started.
I think we have to point out that there are some very well-dressed kids up here. Will you all stand up, please? Stand up. Stand up so we can see you. Are you a singing group? What are you, a glee club? What is
Showfire? The Burlington High School Select Singers. We performed last night at Carnegie Hall.
All right, well, that's great. Congratulations. We'll probably talk to you in the break. So have a seat.
I wonder if they.
And welcome to The View.
I wonder if they slept in those tuxedos because they performed last night.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out. But this is what we want to know now, because astronaut Peggy Whitson just broke the record for spending the longest time in space. And you know who called to congratulate her and discuss the future of interplanetary travel. Take a look.
Tell me, Mars, what do you see a timing for actually sending humans to Mars?
Well, I think as your bill directed, it'll be approximately in the 2030s.
Well, we want to try and do it during my first term, or at worst, during my second term, so we'll have to speed that up a little bit, okay?
Is he going to go?
Did you just wave bye?
Yeah, but they just send her back.
Yeah, they'll send him back.
They just send her back. They'll be like, don't send that up in here. No, we don't want that up here.
But I mean, they didn't prep at all for that, because you imagine going into a meeting and someone in that administration should say, you know, you're going to be speaking with so-and-so. This is what we've done on the issue. This is what we feel. This is our stance.
Yeah.
Because he went into that, it's almost like with no information.
Well, Ivanka's sitting right next to him.
Right, and but the thing is, they're pushing through all these executive orders and saying that should show progress, and yet he's not remembering one he did already.
Well, I mean, he signed this bill.
He signed it.
And it authorizes $19.5 billion for funding for NASA in 2018. The current budget is $19.3. It also gives NASA's retired astronauts lifetime health care for all space flight-related issues.
Yeah.
Wow. In case they get possessed by, like, a space bug. They can go get some help. I mean, you're absolutely right. Why doesn't he know that he did that?
Well, he signed it. So, you know, you can't lose sight of the fact that he called this woman and she had to educate him about something that he authorized.
that he did.
That was concerning to me. Also, the bill he signed aims for a 2033 launch.
Yeah.
And NASA is saying they can push it up, but they need an influx of cash. And this is a guy who's come in saying, talking about fiscal discipline, he's going to cut everything.
This is a guy who doesn't believe in science.
Well, and
okay, let's
he
start
also,
with that.
That's true.
He also,
Let's start with that. You know?
But he also believes in cutting everything. So how is he telling them speed it up? He wants it sped up, of course, because it'll look good for him in the history books. He thinks.
No, it's because he's going to build some hotels there. You know, that's where he's going.
Well, he did. It was $19.5 billion, though, in funding. But what's that he authorized? But what's interesting is that Elon Musk says that's not going to change anything. That is really not going to move the space program forward, especially in terms of commercial flights to Mars. So I don't even understand why he signed the order. Was it just optics? Likely, right? It's likely just.
But that's not even that money.
good.
That amount of money is not going to push it to 2024.
It's not going to
He's asking for.
Listen, you know, it ain't gonna happen, man. Okay, that's not gonna happen. You know, this is why you need to know stuff, because you need to know what these astronauts go through. You need to know the preparation of what it takes to go to Mars. I mean, come on, man. You signed the damn bill. Damn. And the fountain of misinformation keeps spewing. So in an Associated Press interview where he couldn't resist slamming the fake media, and he bragged that his appearance on Face the Nation gave them the best ratings since the World Trade Center fell on 9/11.
Yeah.
You know what, man? That is it. That's sacrosanct. You don't use 9/11 to bolster yourself. What the hell? What is going on?
It was such a bizarre.
In the words
interview.
of Holden Caulfield, he's as sensitive as a toilet seat.
Yeah. it was just I really think people should listen to it.
Explain Holden Caulfield, please.
It's from Catcher in the Rye. Everybody's read that, but that's what he said. It's such a beautiful analogy, I think, of, you know. Because this guy, I mean, how tone deaf can you be to now brag about your ratings about that tragedy? I mean, it's unbelievable.
It was really weird, though. Like, I hope people will read this interview, because in parentheses, it keeps on saying unintelligible, unintelligible, unintelligible. And I thought, why is our president unintelligible throughout an interview with the Associated
Even
Press?
the parts that aren't limited to unintelligible, when you're reading the sentences, it's hard to follow unless you reread
make any sense.
what he's saying. Yeah.
And he's also surprised, like, oh, we sent 79 Tomahawks to Syria. You know, people actually die. I mean, this is life and death, he goes. Hello?
It's very repetitive as well.
That's what struck me, actually, is a part where he says, I say this to people, I never realized how big it was. You know, the orders are so massive. And you're thinking, why would you let the whole world know that you weren't ready for this job, that you somehow got in there and all of a sudden realized...
We already knew that. They knew that.
But there's a difference between people assuming that and him telling you outright.
People voted for him because he had business experience. They already knew he had
But this is an
zero
outright
government
admission from his own mouth.
But this is also, this is tasteless. This is a tasteless thing. And you had here, and so I'm going to read it for you, that while the towers were burning supposedly on 9/11, he bragged on an interview that he had the tallest buildings. He now had the toilet.
He said he had the tallest building in New York City because the World Trade Center.
This is all about his privates also.
Yeah,
Can I just say that?
Excuse it.
It's totally about that.
You know, look, everybody just go get some water and open the window and cool down. We'll be right back. I mean,
This week, you want Hot Topics? You know you do. Well, then tell them, Whoopi.
we'll get to Hot Topics right now.
And for the first time, Caitlyn Jenner comes to The View and joins the table live.
Yeah!
And we're hanging with these strong, fearless women. Facebook's Sheryl Sandberg and Salma Hayek. Wow. Plus, Dr. Phil comes to our house.
Wait! There's more!
Because Friday is
Friday. You're like, that's very catchy, isn't it?
And we are lapping it up with Dr. Ken.
TGIF.
It's all new this week on the Emmy-nominated View. Still ahead, straight from his live town hall about Trump's America, Ohio Governor John Kasich joins the Political View. And Kelly Osbourne Unfiltered, her battles with drug addiction, fame, and the disease that almost killed her.
As you may or may not know, it's not just the U.S. who has election drama. The front-runner in France's presidential election, Emmanuel Macron, met his wife when he was just 15 or 16 years old, when she was his high school teacher. And she was also married and the mother of 3. Now, they won't say when they fell in love, but he's still leading in the polls. Would this play in the U.S.?
Well, after Trump, anything's possible.
It's roughly obviously the same age difference between President Trump and Melania, but I thought
He's 25 years older than her.
Yeah, the candidate said something. He goes, "This is misogyny, because if it were the other way around, we wouldn't question it." And I kind of
Americans would, yeah.
Well, but we don't care as much when it's the man and the woman's younger.
We do it. No. 16 years old.
Because it's a minor, yeah.
It doesn't matter who it is, male or female. If it's a 16-year-old and it's an adult, and what's
Well, there are two parts to the story: the student part, but also just the age difference part, because it's 20.
But the age difference only really comes into play. The only reason we're talking about it is because she was his teacher.
I mean, I got a kid in high school who's going to be 15 in August. I would be pretty horrified if he were having a relationship.
But we don't know
with
that
his,
she was having it when she was in
his parents, actually, his parents were so concerned, according to British Vogue, that they took him out of that school to get him away from her and finished his schooling in Paris. So I think
that's the statute of limitations, because when a couple now stays together for like so long, when do you say, okay, it wasn't right when it started, but I see that this is working? Like they've been together a long time.
They've been married 10 years. They got married in 2007.
Yeah, he was already what? How old was he? Like in his 30s?
It looks like he was in his 30s. Yeah. No, he was 29. But you know, if you look at the research, if couples with a 5-year gap in age are 18% more likely to divorce, couples with a 30-year gap are a whopping 172% more likely to divorce. I mean, we're talking about a 24-year age difference.
Celine Dion and her husband, rest in peace, he was her manager. He knew her when she was a child, like Gigi, you know, that Gigi story. And then they got married when she was older. It sounds similar to that. The other thing is she's running against a Nazi, so I don't really care.
Yeah.
He is. This guy is running against the national, I believe it's called the National Front Party, and her sympathies are very, very much the old Nazi party. Very similar.
I think if there weren't a minor involved, it wouldn't faze people. The concern, of course, people have is that this was potentially concern Americans.
Because the age of consent,
look, we're not, don't quit bugging America.
The age of consent in France is 15, actually. So what bothers me is just the notion that if you're 16 years old and you're dating someone who's your teacher and significantly older, that's a problem. But we don't know that that was happening. It may be that this is someone who inspired him, and they did nothing happen, and then later in life.
Let's be clear. They're very clear about the fact that they had a relationship when he was her student. That's not
clarify when it became love.
They don't. Yeah, they don't.
Intimacy.
Intimacy.
You know, it was during the time he was in school.
Yeah.
So that much we actually know. But the question wasn't whether it's right or not. The French don't have the same issues Americans have with these kind of conversations. The question is, would it work here? And clearly you all are saying no.
Not with the teacher relationship.
President Mitterrand, when he died, his mistress and his wife both went to his funeral. I mean, everybody's sort of okay with that kind of behavior.
Yeah.
They thought we were crazy during the Lewinsky scandal.
Maybe okay with the age, but not necessarily with the teacher-student, because we put our teachers in positions of trust with our children.
You don't know that they were fooling around when he was a kid.
We got to go. We'll be right back.
You still have time to feel the Oprah effect. We partnered with vendors for at least half off Oprah's latest batch of favorite things. So get to viewyourdeal.com now.
So welcome back. The Archives of Sexual Behavior looks at a study into why people fake orgasms. Now, I'm all for scientific research, but you really needed a study to find out why people were faking it? I feel like that's money not well spent.
Yeah. No, I think that's a bunch of guys who can't accept the fact that they did a bad job, and that's why she faked it. So they're trying to figure out why.
Except that, you know, it's not just because somebody doesn't do it well or right. Sometimes it takes a woman a very long time to get there, and she's just like, look, I gotta go. But it's kind of
cleaning out your refrigerator in your mind.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah, I did it once. I faked it once.
You faked it once?
I faked it one time. I don't like to fake, only one time. I faked it. I felt bad about it, though.
You did?
No, I did. She doesn't believe me.
She believes
No, it's true. I would say it.
You don't believe
I think she's done it more than once.
No, listen. No, you got to get to know me. If it doesn't happen,
Not
I
like
say
that,
it.
I'm not going to get to know you.
First off, I think that one of the things you said is not right. You're really not. You're responsible for your own orgasm.
Yeah.
Don't put it on him.
What do you mean you're responsible for your own?
You're responsible for your own.
In the moment?
Yes.
All of it. So I'm supposed to do me and him? I got to take care of everybody?
No.
He knows how to get his.
You have to be. You know that song from South Pacific? You have to be taught, carefully taught. That's what you have to tell him.
Yeah. I think it just gets exhausting. Like, there are times where it's just like there's more to be done. There's a show to be watched. There's ice cream to be
It's
had.
all about time. It's all about time.
Mama only has 24 hours.
That's
We're gonna
right.
need to get there.
And a baby.
And a baby.
The University of Kansas, can I have some stats here?
She's running out of
Act like you don't know what we're talking about, please, Miss
Everyone's
Thing.
talking about here, but I don't know. There are 6 factors that lead people to fake orgasms. It just feels good to do it.
To lie?
Yeah. They do it for their partner.
How insulting. It's insulting.
Just do it for their partner.
There, guys, look, see these 3 guys in the front? Do you, just raise your hand if it's yes. Do you want your partner to fake it if she didn't have her thing? No, they don't. They don't like it.
But they do it for you, apparently. Also, it's maybe women are just not into sex.
No.
They're insecure. It's a power thing.
No.
Or it's an emotional communication.
I don't know.
It's not
See, this
wrong with
study.
that.
This is
Wasted
a-
money.
Here's
It's
the
their
study.
fire.
Here's the study. Okay? Please. You know, my God.
No, they're not.
You know, I mean, look.
Insecurity.
No, people fake it because they have other stuff to
It's
do.
more selfish than
and
that.
sometimes you
They made it
can't
safe
get to
than that.
where you need to get to because you got other, as you said, you got stuff you got to do, and you had it in the moment, and it's like, okay, I want to get there because we know we got stuff, and this is really great, but now I'm freaking out because I'm not there yet. And it's like, let's go.
You know, it's really it's really emotional for women. It's not just physical. So I think sometimes right out of the gates, you're like, FYI, this isn't going to happen. So, and then you just
instantaneously.
I usually know right away.
One other quick note, it's not just
You know it's not. It's not in the cards.
We're gonna go. We're gonna be right back.
Not here today.
Did Governor John Kasich's White House visit with former rival President Trump get awkward? He's joining The Political View next.
We are so happy to see this man today. I've never wanted a Republican to have won, except you, more than you.
Yeah. Well,
Let me introduce you. Governor John Kasich was the only grown-up on the dais, in my opinion, during the Republican primary. So as the governor heads towards a shutdown, let's hope his plan to turn it around is in this book. It's called Two Paths, America Divided or United. Question. Please welcome Ohio Governor John Kasich.
thank you. Joyce said back there, she said, well, you know, I really wish you had won. I said, well, you wouldn't have as good a ratings that I won. You know, so you're having a ball. And by the way, I thought what we walked when I was backstage, I said, I'm not going to talk about politics. Then I saw the last segment. Let's talk about politics.
Yes. You see my discomfort.
Now, we would not put you on the spot about orgasms.
Listen, my wife might be watching.
That's right.
I'm not- Listen, I'm going to be at 30,000 feet today.
Good. All right, so
Pivot. Show us how the pivot is done.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk about Trump. He's coming up on his 100th day very shortly. You did not endorse him.
Nope.
I remember that as a very good day for me. He asked you to, I believe, but you didn't do it. Am I correct?
Right.
And also, you never went to the Republican convention.
Yeah, that made a lot of people happy in my party.
Did not. Not.
Look, I believe that the country needs to come together, okay? And I believe people have problems, then let's go and solve them. Let's not give them, let's not, you know, say to them, well, somebody else took what you had, therefore. So is positive populism negative populism? I'm a positive populist. The president has been a negative populist.
He's a negative populist.
So
Is there anything you like about what he's done? Anything?
Look, I went to Munich with John McCain on the defense conference, and I do believe the action in Syria sent a message that America's not, like, out to lunch and doesn't care. I thought that was important. What I don't like is this whole knock and talk policy, where you're knocking on a door, and if they found out you snuck into a country, even if you didn't, violate a law, we're going to ship you back out. I mean, we got enough broken families than to have any more. So, look, this has been all of my career. When George Bush, the senior, was president, I wrote a budget against his. So in my job, I try to look at, what's the facts, what's the situation, and then call it like I see it. That's what I do. This book is, a lot of people say, well, he wrote this book because he wants to run for office or whatever. No, I wrote this book because, folks, we can't live fighting even inside of our own families. We got to figure out how to listen to other people and how to get along and stop tearing each other apart.
Yeah.
And the greatest things, I've been talking about this. One of the great things that happened to me was Bernice King invited me down to Atlanta for the Martin Luther King Day. And I was on this panel, and somebody said, what about Trump? And I said, well, wait a minute. What about your neighbor? And when you think about Martin Luther King, Dr. King, the politicians wouldn't even meet with him. So what did he have to do? He united all of us against the moral outrage of racism, and he drove the message to the top.
Yeah, grassroots.
Trevor Noah said something to me yesterday. He said, because I was talking about the United Airlines. He said, what's happened with United is all of us have sent a message to the big cheeses at United. We're not putting up with that nonsense on the airplane, ever. So we need to send a message up.
Well, it's always been grassroots.
Yeah.
It's all grassroots. So what's your biggest complaint? Is it Republicans sort of being complicit in an agenda that might not be great for the country? Is it that Democrats don't seem to have a knowledge of what's going on? What
bothers me? Everybody's in a silo. We consume that we agree with, and if we don't agree with something, we shut it out. If they write to us on Facebook, we unfriend people. We're not listening to one another. We're all connected, Joy. We all have.
I really think that if you had won, we would have been much more attentive to what you were saying and not be so against everything that this guy's trying to do. Because to me, he's unraveling everything that we accomplished in the last 8 years.
Well, the biggest, this is not, but you got to remember that this problem has been going on for decades now. The fighting, the dysfunction. And in our own, but we have to start where we live. So what do I say? I say, okay, how do we have common humanity? We ought to be mentoring kids. We ought to be doing it whether we're Republicans and Democrats. We ought to be fighting the drug scourge. This is a horrible thing. The drug overdoses, we ought to be doing it together and warning kids about the dangers of drugs. We ought to be helping veterans when they come back to get a job where we live. We ought to be taking care of one another.
I think that people do those things.
Not enough.
We're talking about his policies.
You know why? Because we're all going into these silos, Joy, and we did it before. So somebody was talking about, I was with Republicans. They go, well, look at how badly they're treating Trump. I said, well, look at Republicans. They didn't even. There was an argument about whether Barack Obama was born in America.
That's right.
We cannot do well if we tear each other apart.
By this
perpetrated by Donald Trump.
Well,
the original sin.
Speaking of this person we don't mention enough, you recently had a face-to-face with Trump.
I did.
You guys didn't exactly have a warm relationship. Was this meeting a little
I didn't endorse him, No, he was very, very nice. I was there for like a long time. And I told him some of the things that I observed when I was in Europe with McCain, and I told him some things I felt about the health care bill, which I feel very strongly about, because we cannot pull the rug from under people who are mentally ill or drug addicted or they're chronically, okay? Now, but I told him another thing. Look, when I became the governor, I had a congressional attitude in the governor's office. And one day my wife came to me and she said, John, you're the governor of Ohio. You're the father of Ohio. Why don't you act like it? And I told the president that because when you get in a position of authority, I represent 11.5 million people, you have to make sure that everybody feels included. And everybody feels as though they have an opportunity. And look, this guy's been in about not even 100 days. So, you know, I can look at the good things, some of the good things he does, and I can criticize the bad, but I want to give him a chance because I'm going to root for the pilot on the airplane I'm on. I got to root for the President of the United States regardless of whatever party he or she is a member of.
Some of them things that he does needs resistance rather than rooting for him.
Okay, we can resist. But we don't. But we don't have. Yeah, but we don't have to hate.
But I need to ask you guys.
No, but that's what's happened.
about hate.
Let me tell you. Do you realize there was a woman in the New York Times that was writing that she moved her wedding out of the United States to Italy because she didn't want her family getting into a fist fight at the wedding reception. People are not getting along in our families, and you know. Here's what happened. People gave up bowling and they took up politics. You know what I think they ought to do? Go back to bowling. Go back to bowling.
You know what? It would be wonderful. You know, it would really be wonderful if people could. But here's the problem. When you have someone who scares people for a living, who got here by saying, hey, they're the problem. You know, the last time we saw that was happening in Germany. When you start pointing at people and scaring children and saying, you know, you're not going to have this and this is these, that's why people are freaking out.
And we're coming out.
We need to find a way to come into balance.
Well, look, people, look at these marches, the March for Science, the Women's March. The good thing is there's greater activism.
Yes.
But I think you've got to say, look, I'm not here to be a PR man for anybody.
No.
But look, he's cut these tweets. You don't see what they were. Maybe he is starting to get his sea legs on this thing. Well, look, Whoopi, I'm just telling you.
I love you for your optimism.
Well, you know, what am I supposed to do? Give up?
No, you can't give up.
Look, I can fight against somebody else's views, but I don't have to become, I don't have to give in. No. You remember when, the funniest thing, I never thought I'd ever say this, it just popped in my head. Nixon said, when he was being impeached, he said, they may hate me, but I'm not going to hate them because they win.
That's right.
And so I just kind of think that here's another thing.
Wait, John, we can't.
Go. We're out of time.
We're out of time?
Yeah,
what about this book?
I know.
Come on.
Let's promote the book.
Read the book.
Thanks to Governor John Kasich. Two Cats, America Divided or United, is in stores now, and members of our audience are going home with a copy. We get it. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Kelly Osbourne. I'm so excited to be back in with you to discuss my book. But I can't tell you the title of the book because you can't say on TV. Sorry.
Yeah, the topics here are hot and only getting hotter.
Bring it on.
Because this is the place where strong women.
You're a champion for women's rights and gay rights.
Speak truth to power. Bam, drop the mic.
Come to be heard.
There's power in numbers, there's power in what we say. We're not playing.
And voice their view.
You talk about your weight a lot. You're a very normal-looking girl. In fact, a little bit thin.
A little bit thin's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me, so thank you.
We are View Strong all day long.
That's right.
This is the Emmy-nominated View.
You know, I love this next woman. She's just a great girl, you know, and she uses her brutal honesty and wit to share her biggest struggles and scandals and revelations in the perfectly titled new memoir, There's No Blanking Secret. Letters from a Badass Bitch. Please welcome the most fabulous Kelly Osbourne. This book is fantastic, and when
Took me 4 years.
it's wonderful, and it's great, baby. But you know, on the Osbournes, you were a teenager, and your book is about all the highs and lows that you've been through ever since. So
I just saw in the monitor the picture of me and my
Beating
brother.
Jack?
Yeah.
There's
So-
the long gone.
what made you decide to write it now?
In all honesty, I can't sit here, and I don't have the right to sit here and complain about the media's perception of me or the public's perception of me if I'm not going to do anything about it.
Right.
And it's my opportunity to say, no, this is who I am.
Right.
And take me or leave me, that's fine. I'm not one for everyone. But I do love everyone, and that's a rule that I live by. And I got really tired of people asking me, what's your secret? And I'm like, I don't have a secret. It's like, well, how did you lose so much weight? And I go, well, I think I'll always be a bit fat, but I'm fine with that. But okay, thanks. And I don't really know what to say, because people only pick up on your journey when you've arrived at your destination.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
that's amazing.
And it's something that, to me, it's really important that these topics are spoken about.
Yeah.
And in a very honest way, because people are still frightened to talk about drugs and rehab and, you know, body issues. And I go there on everything. There's even a letter to my vagina.
Yeah. Well, you know, in the book you write about your experience 2 years ago when you were talking about Mexican immigrants working for Donald Trump. And people lost their minds, labeled you as a racist. I know you did. I know you
honestly,
did.
I've been called everything that you can imagine. But that, even talking about it right now, could make me cry, because it is the furthest thing from what I am. And I had to make sure that in this book, I'm made right by it. And cleared that up, because it's so important to me.
You know, I was home watching the show when you said what you said, and as a Latina, I can tell you, I knew exactly what you meant.
I did too.
I knew exactly, and I didn't pick up racist at all, and I'm sorry that you experienced that.
Thank you.
I'm sorry you experienced that.
If I would have seen that, even as me, I'd have been like, that girl sucks.
I did not it did
in
not.
the context of what you were saying, it made sense.
And also, when, you know, I have this thing with social media, you know. The people on social media, you know how I feel about it. The people on social media don't know anything about you.
Yeah.
They only know what is surface. So people will write things, and that makes it...
ignorance came in, that I think that they know all about me.
No,
they're living their own lives. They've got their own problems and issues to deal with. So it's up to me to say, this is who I am, and this is what I believe in.
It's easier for people to label you than to hear what you were actually saying. So,
but I did make the mistake of falling back on sarcastic humor to defend a situation that came out completely wrong, and I all day.
Believe me. Look at
another thing you're incredibly honest about and open about in your book is your drug use, and you started. It dates back to when you were 13. What was the impetus for this?
I hated myself. I truly did. I didn't want to be me. And the biggest misconception is that there's this romantic notion about doing drugs, and it's cool, and sex, drugs, and rock and roll. There is nothing cool about it. There is not. And I couldn't imagine ever being that miserable again. And if I can share some of my pain and suffering and what I went through with others, so you know, they can see that they can do it too. I'm not in the program. I don't consider myself sober. My brother, on Friday, last Friday, celebrated 14 years.
Oh,
wow. How amazing is that?
That's awesome.
Amazing. I'm so proud of him. And it, you know, to figure out who you are and who you want to be is the longest, hardest battle you will ever face in life. And all I ever wanted to do was be myself. I've always said this, I don't want to be the richest, prettiest, smartest, funniest, because if you look behind you, there's someone else there. You just have to be you and the best you can be, and if you don't give up, it will happen.
Of course. Well, your book is fantastic, and it's very honest. And you write some very personal things about your family, your parents, Sharon and Ozzy. Your mom almost died from her battle with colon cancer. And to cope with that, your dad's drug use escalated. And you were in the middle of that.
Him not having my mom around, I think it sent us all crazy, but I mean, she's the love of his life. He doesn't know how to function without her.
Can't cope with it.
Literally doesn't. So it was really hard on him, and then he got into an ATV accident that put him in a coma. And so I was going between a hospital in LA and a hospital in London. And that was my life for a while. And I did give up my career and everything, and I just thought to myself, oh, is this really happening? but so many people go through this stuff too. I mean, my brother has MS. I had Lyme's disease. My dad's got addiction issues as well as my brother and myself that we've dealt with. And my mom almost died of cancer. It's just, this happens in life, unfortunately, today. And people need to know that they're not alone. And they need to know that you are a unique, beautiful, individual person. It's just simply whether or not you can find it within yourself to be brave enough to show that to the world. Because it is scary to stand up and say, hey, this is me. I don't care what you think.
Yeah. But it's doable.
And one of the things you reveal, which you just mentioned now for the first time, is that in 2013 you were diagnosed with Lyme disease, and it's the first time you're speaking about it. So why now?
Because I wanted to make sure I did all my research first and knew what I was talking about before I opened my big mouth. And I realized just how many people in this country are suffering from it. And how, knowing how debilitating it is.
Because you didn't even know you had it.
No. They diagnosed me with epilepsy. Then they thought I had MS, and they were going to give me an epidural, and I saw the needle, and I was like, hell no. I'm going to go find a different doctor. And I ended up going to Frankfurt, Germany, and doing stem cell, and it saved my life.
Baby, you know something? You've come full circle. You've come into yourself. You've come into yourself. It's kind of fabulous to see. You know, that is always going to, you're always going to be searching, because the evolution is
And I'm always going to be working on myself, because I'm always going to be making some sort of mistake that I've got to learn from and then move on.
We all do.
But that's the best part about making a mistake. You learn from it. I've learned so much from this show. It's unbelievable.
You are, you know, I love you. They love you. I'm so pleased. So we thank Kelly Osbourne. Members of our audience, we're all getting the board. Everybody.
Tomorrow, Caitlyn Jenner is live on The View to reveal if she's spoken to ex-wife Kris since she blasted her for exposing the secrets of her life.
Hey, now, you know what? Our executive producer, Brian Tedder, his sister, is going in to have a baby any second as we speak. So we're saying, welcome, new baby. Have a good time, Allison. It's going to be really interesting. Everybody else, we want you to have a great day and take a little time to enjoy the view or whatever view you happen upon.